Insurance agents from around the world. Hey guys, this is Scott Howell with the Insurance Guys Podcast. Hey, let's talk about client experience for just a minute. Guys, we have got to start meeting our clients where they want to be met. Not where you want to be met. Guys, this isn't about you. This is about them. I know we would all love it to be about us, but it's about our clients. We got to start meeting them where they want to be met. I understand some of you want them to come into the office, drink coffee for 45 minutes, whatever. That's just not where we are today, guys. For those people that want that, that's fantastic. Every single year, more and more people want to jump on a mobile app. They want to download their ID cards. They want easy. They want speed. They don't want to come by and drink coffee with you. One of the easiest ways you can do this is through the agency-branded self-service platform, guys. And that is where Glovebox comes in. A carrier-connected, agency-branded tool for your clients. Call today, get a demo with Glovebox, and mention the Insurance Guys Podcast to get 20% off the life of your agency-branded CXP. Guys, let's go meet our clients where they want to be met. Easy, speed. Have a great day.
Hey guys, it's Bradley. Every now and then a company comes across my desk that not only blows my mind in what they're able to accomplish, but we implement that particular technology at Portal and it completely changes the way we do business. That's happened a few times with a few different companies, and it happened this year with Ascend. In case you don't know, Ascend saves agents time by simplifying the time-consuming process of collecting payments, premium finance, and paying the carriers without the back-and-forth paperwork, and it's integrated right into a slick checkout experience where customers can pay how they want, credit, debit, ACH. Own the customer experience, guys. It's branded to your agency, and they offer a modern checkout experience that your customers want. Ascend will also, and this is a big one for me, automatically pay the provider, the carrier, the MGA for the payables, so it essentially turns agency bill into direct bill. Go to useascend.com/insurance guys. The link should be below on this YouTube video. Check them out. Thanks.
Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys Podcast, powered by Glovebox. God, I love Glovebox. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Mobile, Alabama. Parade first team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
Great, Scott. How are you today?
Best I have ever been. I am in Mobile, Alabama, home of the free, land of the brave. I'm not sick. I don't feel like I'm getting sick.
That's good.
Bradley, I got a funny story to tell you.
Sure.
I gotta lead this story. A couple of different things I gotta say. Number one, I love my sister, my only sibling, more than life itself. I would die for her. I would do anything for her. And I know that she feels the same way about me. And as I've told many people many times, she got all the brains and the looks in the family. I got shit out all the way around on all of that. So she is a high-powered global corporate attorney. She was, I've not announced this because at the time I didn't think I could, but she was chosen by her law firm, which is one of the top largest 3 or 4 law firms in the world, to be on the team for PayPal. So she now represents PayPal in the states of, I want to say Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, not Tennessee, Louisiana. I know Louisiana and Texas. She's got some cases there. I won't tell what they're billing out, but basically she's on the 6-person team that handles all litigation for PayPal.
Okay.
Now, so if that kind of tells you, and her brother pissed in his pants last night on his way down to Mobile. So if that tells anybody kind of what we're dealing with here, that's where we're going with this. So a couple of weeks ago, I took my beautiful wife and met a couple of my friends. Shout out to Brian Gunnels and Scotty Sanderson and their beautiful wives. Brian's married to Tabitha. Scotty's married to Leslie. All of my friends from back home are wildly more successful than I am. They've all done real good in life, unlike myself. But I rented a house. We rented a house in Tuscaloosa, and we went to the Iron Bowl, the Alabama-Auburn game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had not, because of the way everything shook out, I did not have a chance to have Thanksgiving with my own father, my biological father and his wife. And so we came up with this plan that, look, Scott's going to be in Tuscaloosa. Cheryl, my sister, is in Tuscaloosa. And instead of us trying to like manhandle Thanksgiving sometime before then, why don't we have Thanksgiving at Cheryl's house, beautiful home, in Tuscaloosa on Sunday after the Iron Bowl, after the Alabama-Auburn game. So that's what we did. I get over there. My 3 nephews are there, all stair-stepped in age. They're all, doing kid stuff. And my son was there too. He spent the weekend with them. And they went to the Iron Bowl. They went to the Alabama-Auburn game. And we start having Thanksgiving. My 3-year-old nephew, Hyatt, my son's name is Wyatt, his name is Hyatt, decides that he not only does not want to eat at the kiddie table, he wants to eat at the big boy table with all the adults, and he is not wearing pants. Only a T-shirt. Now, Bradley, let me ask you a question.
How old is he?
3.
Oh.
Have you ever eaten Thanksgiving while you're looking at a 3-year-old's pecker during the whole Thanksgiving meal? Because if you haven't, I have.
I have not, no.
I have now. Love that kid. He is a special kid, but I will never forget this Thanksgiving as the Thanksgiving where as I'm eating my turkey and dressing, I look over and Hyatt is standing in my sister's lap. There's a T-shirt on up top.
Don't look up from your dumplings.
Yeah, you just got to keep your damn head down and eat cranberry sauce because there is no damn way that you can look up and stare at a 3-year-old's pecker during Thanksgiving. I mean, but that is a true story, y'all. That really did happen. Anyway, we have got a fantastic podcast for you people today. I understand and I realize that at any moment you probably are sitting in your car, your vehicle, your office, at home, letting someone listen to this, and you're thinking, there's no way that happened. It 1,000,000% happened. You can't make that up. I mean, who would make something like that up?
A weirdo.
A really weird person.
Yeah.
Guys, we've got an outstanding podcast for you today, and I've got a guest on here today that I have for the last 30 minutes have been researching and Facebook stalking and Google stalking, and I am so excited to have her on for a number of reasons, but mainly selfishly because she's an expert in branding, and I just got through telling her prior to telling the Thanksgiving pecker story that I need help with branding. That's the message that I delivered to her right before we came on this podcast. So, without further ado, she is originally from Miami, Florida. She currently resides in Sunrise, Florida. And she is married to the ruggedly handsome Jordan. Shout out to Jordan. You did big. You outpunted your coverage, Jordan. She has 2 babies. And before I say their names, when I was reading this, I thought, who in the hell names their kid Burrito? And then I realized she's a dog mama. She has Burrito and Beasley. I thought, who the hell names their kid Burrito? I thought that was funny.
But that's a perfect name.
She's attended Broward College, got her associate's degree there. She's also attended the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. She has been, from 2002 to 2006, she worked in her father's family agency at Allstate and opened up, I guess sold that agency, opened up an independent agency in 2006, sold it in 2018 to open the Bunker. We're going to talk about the Bunker today too. She has 20 years of experience in the insurance industry. She's helped her family start and sell 2 prior agencies, and now she's the founder and CEO of the Bunker Insurance and Risk Management. She holds several designations, including the CIC, the CRM, and the CCIC. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor today to introduce to you first-time guest on the IGP, but I can promise you one thing, it will not be her last. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Miss Ciara Gravier. How are you, Ciara?
I'm doing great, Scott. How are you?
I'm the best I have ever been and never been more excited than I am at this very moment.
Same.
I'm going to tell you something. The first thing I need you to do, because I have heard through the grapevine, through mutual friends of ours in the industry, how
Uh-oh.
great your story is.
Okay.
Get in my DeLorean. I need you to step in with me. I'm not going to do anything crazy, I promise. I'm just going to listen. Tell our audience of 250,000 insurance agents from around the world your story on how you got into the insurance world, and you just bring us up to today.
All right. So it's pretty cut and dry as far as the places I've worked and the role I've been in insurance. My family has always been in the ownership role. And that's kind of how I landed here. But it started in 2000, around 2001, when I graduated high school. My dad actually came to this country when he was 14 from Cuba, and my mom was born here. My mom worked for Equifax all of her life from high school. She was working there, had a nice job there, and she got fired. She got off the plane in Atlanta, and they let her know, hey, you no longer have a job here, right after doing, she went on a business trip and got fired. And my dad, shortly after that, had also was facing some issues with his job, and he was let go as well. And so, and they had been salespeople all of my life, all of my childhood. They both worked from home, sales positions, always. And so, at 49, my dad had said, "I've had enough with working for corporate America. Never owned a business, never sold insurance." And he went and opened an Allstate. We landed in the Allstate realm, which for us, we don't really regret that time. We think that it taught us well what we
Sure.
needed to know about insurance.
Yeah.
It taught us how to write good business too, clean business.
Well, I bet you don't want to open one up today.
No, no. And, we did really well. We opened up a second location. And then when we realized we were going on all the trips, we realized, wait a minute, everyone that has an Allstate has an independent on the side. Someone in the family has an independent. And so that's when we realized, oh, well, then we're going to open an independent as well.
Right.
So we went right upstairs. I opened, we came home from one of the trips, and my dad was like, you need to get your license. I opened upstairs. The Allstate was downstairs.
Strong.
And whenever people would come in, which at that time people still came into the office, and they were, remember, South Florida as well, Allstate doesn't do the home.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say, and I've talked to Bradley about this before too. One of the things that I find interesting for family members that do what you did, and I've heard this story multiple times. And in fact, my podcast co-host, his wife is a State Farm agent. And so all of these captive carriers have a box, is what I call it. It's a box. And they want you to fit in that square box. And even if you're a good risk, maybe because of some claim history that's unfortunate or some other reason. I mean, if my wife was a State Farm principal agent, I can tell you right now, I would want her to send me, or Allstate or Farmers or anything. I can just see and I'm sure it's not like 1,000 policies a month, but it's, a few here, a few there. It just seems like a hand in glove relationship to me.
Yep.
Is that kind of what transpired down there?
Yeah. Absolutely. And then, what we figured out was, what was the incentive for people to stay with Allstate? Really, if we didn't have the home,
right?
It was through the other carriers, which I know you guys are familiar with, as far as the coastal stuff that Bradley goes through. So, we realized very quickly that we also really like to do commercial.
Right.
So we got rid of the Allstates. We opened, we had the independent, and I was working there with my parents, and it was us three for a really long time. And then we grew the agency. We had about 8 employees, but to say that, I mean, I've been blessed. I've been able to literally spend every single day of my adult life with my parents.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's been amazing. Yeah.
And your mom and dad are still alive today.
Absolutely.
What are their names? Let's give them a shout out.
Yes. So we call my dad the G.
Okay. I like that.
We call my dad the G, and my mom's name is Esther.
Awesome. Hey, G and Esther, I just want to tell y'all, I know how much your daughter loves you and how proud she is of both of you, what y'all accomplished with her. and you should be very proud of what you've accomplished. I'd love to have them on the podcast too.
Oh yeah.
I wish all three of you were on here together right now.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
It's
But
great because my mom, when we sold, she was like, I'm done. I'm retired. But my dad, so the thing is that my
yeah,
dad always told me, have a plan B. In life, you have to have a plan B.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, well, while you're working here, you should invest in yourself and in this career, because I was going to the Art Institute for interior design and I got pulled out because, I didn't get a scholarship. So my fault, right? But they were just like, I mean, we're starting a business. We need all hands on deck. You need to work with us. We'll send you back once we can. And well, that never happened. And I honestly didn't want to go back either. Like my dad is very realistic. So he was just like, listen, sure, you can make it and we can do it, but this lifestyle that insurance can help you achieve is a better path for you.
mm-hmm.
Did you have?
So,
did you run into any? I know a lot of folks that work with their parents or work in the family business. Sometimes there's a power dynamic there where they don't want to give too much control to the kid, or the kid is unreasonably good at something and the parent harnesses that. What was the dynamic there like?
Yeah, no, the dynamic for us has always been easy. When I was upset about being pulled out of school, I mean, who wants to? And we were working at Allstate, just us three, 9 to 7, none of us knowing what we were doing. It was a really tough time, right? So outside of that, though, those growing pains, there was probably only about one time where I wanted to leave, where I was just like, I'm over this. Like it was like I want my dad back, right? Because it was hard to cut the relationship from work to dad. But once we sat down and had that conversation, it was never an issue again. And he works with me now here at the bunker. He comes in and he's happier than ever. And he's the reason why the bunker exists, because he was just like, you're not going to make the mistake that I made with corporate America. You're not going to do that. They will throw you away. Cause in my mind, I was like, okay, well, if we ever sold, I was getting my designations to have a plan B. He was like, you have the experience on this side. You can go get a job with a carrier, do very well for yourself. And so I always listen to him too. Like I have no problem listening to him. Everything he tells me, I know he's right. He's always right. And so I'm just not like, I guess I'm not rebellious by nature. So I've always, just played along, and he's always been right. And so here we are at the bunker. He was just like, why? You gave me your youth. You helped me build our family legacy, and now I'm going to help you do yours. And so that's how we are.
And two things to that, one, so my mother-in-law used to work for my wife, which is it's kind of what you have going on now.
Right.
And now my sister-in-law opened up an agency last year, and my mother-in-law left to go to work for my sister-in-law. And I remember my wife saying, man, I'm really glad to have my mom back. So I think it's important when you're working with a parent or a family member that you draw that line of demarcation in the beginning of like, hey, we're on stage, all stage. When we're here, it's boss employee or partner, but when we're home, we're at home. But
hey, in the immortal words of Randy Jones's wife, Deborah Jones.
Oh gosh,
Scott, before you bring your wife into this agency, you better sit down and think long and hard before you do that. Because there are positives, but there are also a lot of negatives. Go ahead, Bradley. I'm sorry.
I forgot what the second point was.
My bad.
That's okay. I would say I agree, though. I think that I think that, obviously my parents were also extremely overwhelmed. My dad took money out of his 401k to open a business, never owning a business, never having sold insurance. So, the pressures were high. But once we sat down and had that conversation, it was never an issue again. I think maybe he just, we didn't realize it. You're just in the grind of it.
So let's talk a little bit about branding. Let me get back to your story for a second, because you're about to leave out the best part. So dad comes in, the G comes in. I love that name. Can you call it? Can I change my name to the G?
Sure.
Just birth certificate and everything.
I feel like Gas should do that.
That would be awesome. Your dad comes in. He's like, "Hey, you help me build my legacy. Let me help you build mine. Build yours," which I think is phenomenal. You open up the bunker. So is the bunker a PNC independent agency? Is that what it is?
Yes, and we're 100% commercial.
100% 100% commercial. So
Yes.
that you just avoided my second question. Like, so how many citizens policies do you have in your agency?
A big fat 0.
Wow.
I don't even have an appointment with Citizens.
Not many people can
Smart,
say that.
smart.
Yeah. That's honestly, we did a lot of personal lines at our other agency.
Right.
And then we bought a book that had some larger commercial stuff. And so I knew I did not want to do personal lines ever again. It's just not, it doesn't even matter how much value you bring in South Florida, it's transaction.
Sure. 100%.
There's so little value. And so I also knew I wanted to kind of run like a trimmed agency, and that's very hard to do with personal lines. So I just always knew, and then in 2020, well, I opened November 2019, and then the world, we all know what happened in March. So
Right.
it has been quite a journey, but that's why I joined Killing Commercial in 2020, was because I knew that I wanted to build this insurance agency, but that was different, that spoke about insurance differently, that brought something else to the table. And I was working on my CRM at the time, so I understood risk management, but I didn't know the technical aspect of it and like how to use it as a sales tool. So I knew I needed something else, but I didn't know it was Killing Commercial until actually the G found it, and he stalked David Carruthers.
Let me tell you something. I have a standing rule at my house. If you don't like David Carruthers, I don't like you. So how about that?
How about that?
And I'm assuming that y'all have followed the David Carruthers protocol of kind of the leading down there with workers' comp and becoming a risk management partner rather than some just transactional commercial sale.
Correct. Yeah. And since we are in South Florida and we do speak Spanish, there's a lot of people that come here from South America that have a lot of money, and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They're opening businesses because they have to. They have visas that are coming here for that, and we can help them and guide them, and they trust us.
Right.
So that's a big part of what we do. It's trust. And I value that trust. I take it serious. So I love the approach that David has taught us in Killing Commercial, because I always knew I wanted to do it. I just couldn't articulate it.
And by the way, I did confirm with Bradley right before we came on this podcast, David is speaking at the One City World Tour this year. So
nice.
How far is Sunrise, Florida from Miami?
Not at all. I'm 10, right off the highway.
10 or 15 miles, something like that.
Very close.
So let's talk about commercial for just a second. I'm wildly interested. I kind of know what your sales process is because I've spent a lot of time with David. I've spent a lot of time on the Killing Commercial site. By the way, for all of you that have young producers out there that want to get into commercial insurance and maybe they're just green, I don't know that I can recommend anything better than Killing Commercial and going through the modules because it's going to do so much for you because it makes you go through the modules one by one instead of skipping, creating a business plan, finding your target client, all of that stuff is in there. And then you have the community group as well with, all the guys that we're friends with that are all crushing it in commercial insurance. So, I'm sure you can go to Google and type in Killing Commercial to find out where to go to be involved in that. But so what are the main commercial niches, or are you guys just generalists right now?
So we do a lot of E&S.
Okay. Of course. I bet you do.
Duh.
6 miles from the water.
Right. So what we like to do, we are going after contractors. Our ideal prospect list that we built for Killing Commercial purposes it is contractor heavy with higher mods, because we can pull their mods. So we do have that. We do some manufacturing. We really like some manufacturing, and we have some really nice risks. For that, we have about 4 or 5. And I actually have only one really good sized pest control account.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's hard to really be super niched when I don't really have, a dedicated program for it.
We run into the same issue here.
At least you do have the carriers, right? Like you have, some markets?
I do. See, I'm
Okay.
in to give all of our podcast listeners some perspective here. So I'm 6 hours north of Bradley, and my agency offices all run along a corridor called Highway 72, with the exception of one in Michigan. And each one of those agency offices is probably, as the crow flies, 10, 15 miles from the Tennessee state line. So I am like super close to Nashville. In fact, some of my people that live along that I-65 corridor probably can be in downtown Nashville on Broadway Street in an hour and 30 minutes, hour and 40 minutes. So we all have to have licenses in both Tennessee and Alabama, but that puts me up into the corridor where it's more standard.
Where you can get appointments.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
In fact, right now we're in negotiations with Cincinnati, and I do think we'll get an appointment with them first of the year. Frankenmuth is another one we're talking to, and then a couple of more. But for Bradley down here south of the I-10 corridor, you got to realize the Gulf of Mexico from where I'm sitting, Bradley's sitting right now, is how far from us? 5 miles?
No, it's about probably 20 or 30.
20 miles. But still, to an insurance carrier, that's
but
like, oh my God.
You're 2 miles from Mobile Bay, which most carriers consider the Gulf.
Correct. Which it's kind of weird, isn't it? That they consider Mobile Bay as part of the Gulf. But you're right. I can see that.
Well,
we've never talked about that.
We run into a problem with carriers. So like Attune recently, let's pick on them for a second. Attune, up until 3 months ago, was the only non-E&S carrier that would do property insurance with wind down here on commercial. And it was like a quote bind issue where they didn't have to go to an underwriter and wait 45 days for it to come back. But they changed their rules, and it's like, okay, we're not writing wind 5 miles from the coastline. And you're like, well, what are you considering coast?
Correct.
Is it the Gulf? Is it the Bay? And the answer you get usually is, we don't know. And so
Bradley, I have a question for you. So does it include water?
Say that again?
Does it have a water exclusion for you, your Attune policy?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's been a while since we've written them, but the point was like, it's like, how do you what are you defining? You know what I mean? And we wrote a lot of Attune back in the day, and
we
still
still write a bunch of Attune.
Yeah, they had great. I mean, we had great claims with them after Sally. I mean, it went amazingly, but that's kind of what you deal with down here. Is it's like, okay, and then you ask, well, what do you? Oh, we don't know. And it's like, okay, you might as well just say you don't want to write down here anymore. Like,
right.
Know.
Well,
because if you go 5 miles from the bay, I mean, that eliminates the majority of prospects, right? If you go 5 miles from the Gulf, that's not that big of a deal. You know, that you're eliminating the beach,
sure,
basically,
100%.
So, whereas their rule before that was they'd go 1,000 feet from the coastline. That was their deal.
Ciara, I'm going to give you some. I'm going to ask you some questions here. I've heard you're deadly in branding. Now let's back up for just a second. In November of 2019, which I believe was right before the pandemic hit, we start the Bunker.
Yep.
Love that name, by the way. Very, very catchy, easy to remember.
Thank you.
What were some of the things that you've done? And we both know that one of the hardest aspects of becoming an independent insurance agent, especially coming from an Allstate, a State Farm, a Farmers, any of those captive companies, is you no longer have the logo. You know, that's something I tell State Farm agents all the time. I'm like, guys, and there's some listening to this podcast right now, you do not understand the power of that brand, of that logo. And when you go independent from one of these independent carriers, which I know y'all have been independent for a while already, but you've got this brand new agency name. Nobody knows who you are. You guys probably know a ton of people down there, but you're starting this new entity. What did you do? What were some of the things you did out of the gate to really, and I know this is probably specific to South Florida, but what did you do to brand the Bunker?
So we made a lot of mistakes in our past agencies with branding. A lot.
Give me a couple, because I
Okay.
guarantee you I've done the same damn thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So exactly what you just said, right? About relying on these people on the captives logos. Like we were Allstate. We put zero thought into our actual agency name.
Sure.
We were Gravier Insurance Group. And we made no effort. I mean, we didn't know anything about business. So let's be fair. Well, how are we going to brand something when we don't even know how we open the doors, right? Like we didn't know anything. So we actually tried to not stand out and just let the good hands be it. Like
Right.
that's all we needed. We tried to camouflage ourselves with that. And the thing is that in that world, you can be very successful doing that. You actually are encouraged to just blend in, and you don't have to do anything.
But by
to
doing
stand
that,
out.
you don't create any leverage for yourself.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
what I tell agents they should do, especially in the beginning, if you're going to work for a captive company, is you should use that logo in the beginning, right? That's gonna create altitude for you in the sales process with your customers. But your goal over time needs to be to separate yourself from that logo and brand yourself. That way you build that leverage with your clients and they know you. And I don't ever want a client coming to me because of a specific carrier.
Right.
Right.
Just like we like to say, live by price, die by price, live by carrier, die by carrier. Because if somebody comes to me because of Progressive and then Progressive does something stupid, guess how they're going to perceive that? They're going to perceive that as Bradley doing something stupid.
Right.
But when you're coming from the captive side and the fact that I do have Progressive and Travelers, that's all you talk about.
Right.
It is like, it's gold. You can't keep your mouth shut about the fact that now I have options. Like, please come do business with me. I have options.
Options are a good thing. Options are a good thing.
Especially when you've been in that captivity for so long and
Right.
just dealing with one carrier and, the frustration of doing all the work and losing it on the back end. So we always knew that the wealth is in the renewals. So we understood that every time we lost a client, and we brought one in, we didn't win that day. We broke even, right? So we've always understood that. And even when we opened up the second agency, we made the branding mistake again. At that time, we were just like, well, now people know us in the Allstate world, like they know us as Allstate agents, but they don't know us as independent agents.
Right.
So let's pick some, and it's actually really embarrassing to say that our name was Countrywide Insurance Group.
Okay.
Like, why? Our thought process at the time was like, well, let's just pretend we're associated with Countrywide Mortgage. And then it tanked. And then we were getting calls about people's mortgages and not their insurance.
Did Countrywide try to sue you as well?
No.
Okay.
No. We got lucky.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing is, a discussion you and I had when you went from Nationwide to Independent. We had a discussion about whether or not you should still brand as Nationwide or go completely to iProtect.
Right.
And, I think we both made good points, and there's reasons for doing both, right? I don't think you should have ripped the Band-Aid off because that's what your customers are used to. Right. But, my point of associating yourself with a carrier is, what if, depending on the political area that you are in, red or blue, that carrier does something that conflicts with the views of the people who are your customers.
They pull a Kanye.
all of a sudden, now you're having to make up. So why not control your destiny? And use the leverage of that brand, right? I mean, if I have auto owners and I'm talking to a client, I'm going to use the weight of that company in that conversation.
Sure.
But I'm not held captive to it, and it's not handcuffs. It's use it to your advantage, not your disadvantage.
Got you. So Ciara, what is the top three things you did? Take away all the mistakes we made in the past. What do you feel like lessons learned are the three things you've done branding the bunker that have worked?
So
and I'm asking you this because there's a lot of independent agency owners listening to this right now. And I don't think any of us do a good enough job of branding our agency. Choices are a good thing, that kind of thing, but just branding the agency overall. I know my agency doesn't do a very good job of this, but What are some of the lessons and things you've done now that worked?
So I think that obviously everyone wants choices, but like choices are a bare minimum now.
Right.
It's like a requirement. It's not the selling tool. It's not what gets somebody in the door anymore. So I think that an agency that focuses on the carrier appointments that they have as their agency brand is not standing out, and they are not memorable. Because first of all, the untrained consumer does not care.
Mm-mm.
They don't care if it's Liberty Mutual or Travelers or Progressive. The majority of them do not care as long as it's a good claim service or an easy app to use, or, you know, they just, you know, they draft my monthly bill correctly.
Yeah.
The majority of them don't care.
I think it depends on two things as well. I think it depends on the area you are in.
Mhm.
You know, so where I'm located and where Scott's located, the captives control the market.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And
By a large
we had to
percentage.
spend an exorbitant amount of time explaining what an independent agency was.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
had to explain that to our customers. And I think it's how you position it. You're selling a hole, not a drill situation.
Right.
A lot of people try to sell the drill, hey, we're an independent agency, when what they should be selling is the whole, hey, this is the advantage to using an independent
Correct.
agency in the claim situation, and here's how we do it. We have multiple carriers. We work for you. We don't work for the company, etc. Don't you agree?
I 100% agree. And I think that that's kind of like, even just for example, it's probably very relevant where you guys are. It's relevant here, and we are a major city, but like last name insurance agency.
Yeah.
If someone is opening an agency in 2020, we're in 2023, and they're going last name insurance agency, they're starting 15 years behind.
Correct.
We were last name insurance agency in 2002.
Yeah, but that's probably ego.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
And I hate to say that because there's somebody out there listening that just opened up their
Yeah.
new.
And some of them are generational, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're grandfathered in and it's very hard to change and you're in a small town, fair.
Right.
Sure.
But
right.
if you're coming in and you're choosing last name insurance agency, unless you have a really cool last name that can be like a nickname, or
Like
I mean, it has to
like
be,
Jason Kilgo, phenomenal name for an insurance
Yes.
agency, but you don't
Yes.
know that's his last name when you
Right.
look at it,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
But
Yep.
the literal worst thing not the literal worst thing, but one of the worst things you can do is name your agency after yourself.
Worst thing you can do is piss all over yourself driving down the road to Mobile. But
Scott did that yesterday.
That's-
It hurt. I think it hurts the value of your agency, because what it
100%
does
does.
is for you to get top dollar when you sell, you're going to have to stick around, or you're not going to get as much.
So
And
I agree, and I just finished reading the Dropout Multimillionaire book, and it has like 37 life lessons for business owners, and one of the first ones is about don't be Joe the plumber.
Mhm.
If Joe is the owner of the business and Joe is the actual plumber, Joe is self-employed. He's not a business owner.
Right.
And when Joe goes to sell the business, his customers are going to go find someone else when Joe is no longer showing up as the plumber.
And that's
it's the same
going to be
thing.
the problem in the United States over the course of the next 20 years. Is there's millions of contractors out there like Bradley's father, who is the guy, right?
Mhm.
He's the guy with his electrical contracting business, or Joe the plumber. And maybe they've got one helper, and he's like a college kid or some kid that just got out of jail from being on meth, and you know the deal. And over the next 20 years, those guys are going to start dying off because they're getting up into their late 60s, early 70s, and there's nobody behind them. And I've been telling kids this for the last 3 or 4 years. I'm like, you want to make some real money? Go to trade school and get an heating and air conditioning degree and learn how to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I wouldn't get into insurance. I'd be finding some way to get into some kind of service-oriented contractor business, because those guys are all going to die off.
Dude, I'll tell you, what I would do is I would figure out how to brand and market.
Right.
And I would brand myself whatever contracting.
Right.
And get really good at the SEO and the lead gen. Take those leads, pass those leads off to a local contractor, make a spread. don't do any work.
Right.
There's an injury attorney here in Alabama that you can't drive down the street without seeing one of his billboards, if not multiple billboards.
And if you think he's lying, people,
I'm
you
not lying.
cannot blindfold yourself and throw a dead cat in any direction without seeing a billboard
Alexander
from this guy.
Shannara,
Alexander Shannara.
And
Every billboard.
I don't know this for certain, but I've been told that all he is a big lead company.
He's a pass-through.
And
so
they keep certain cases, but then the smaller ones go, or the more difficult ones go somewhere else.
So,
Yeah, because they get referral fees.
So dirty little secret that nobody in Alabama knows is he works with 3 or 4 big firms that pay. I mean, because the cost of these billboards has to be millions of dollars. I mean, they're everywhere, and I don't mean like just along the I-65 corridor, guys. The entire, if you go to any small town in Alabama,
the word corridor like 4 times on this.
I'm sorry.
It's the first time I've ever heard you say it.
I'm sorry. But any small town in Alabama, you're going to see the Alexander Shannara billboard. But what he does is he keeps the small stuff, but any like wrongful death suit or transfer truck hits somebody and kills somebody, all that gets farmed out, and then he just gets a small cut of that.
And that's where you could kill it in contracting right now, is figuring out the business side of things from a marketing branding standpoint, generate awareness. It's hard to do it in insurance because our margins are so thin.
Right.
But I feel like something like contracting
and getting thinner.
where you can control the price.
Right.
You can create some room there for something
Sure.
like that to work. I mean, the only reason his deal works is because their margins are gargantuan.
So
Also, I feel like just being an air conditioning company or an electrical company that returns a phone call and sets up an appointment.
God.
Yeah.
will win.
Are you kidding?
Dude, same thing with independent agencies. Are you kidding me? Like the average independent agency, it takes like 48 hours for them to call
I
people
thought it was
back.
76.
Like, it probably
Oh, wow.
so. Like, I mean, my friends who are in marketing ask me all the time, or not in marketing, my friends in other businesses ask me all the time, like, Bradley, why are you still in the insurance industry? I'm like, because the bar is so freaking low.
so low.
Like, you can be bad and you're way better than your competition.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's so low, and not low with the people that's in our ecosystem, but just like the local agents that you're competing against. You can implement average business advice and you're so much better, or average business strategies, and you're so much better than your competition.
Right.
Well, that's why the majority of agents don't focus on branding. They don't have to. They're
Right.
just satisfied being average.
Right.
So-
your competition's countrywide insurance. I'm kidding. I'm messing
So
with you.
Ciara, what else did
So we
you
sold it.
Yeah, right. So what else are you guys doing, or did you do, to kind of kick the ball off the tee to brand
Yes.
the bunker?
So the main thing that has helped me be different and be memorable has been building a process. And I talk about the process. And I read it in Traction, where Gina Wickman says that if you don't have a proprietary process for your business, and you can't make one up, like you can't think of a catchy creative name, just name it your business way. Just name it something, because people will all automatically feel like it's an elevated experience just because it sounds different. So that's what I did. I created the Bunker Edge, and that's what we talk about. And so we say, I'm not just here to gather information. I'm here to walk you through our 4-step process to see if we're a good fit for each other.
And what is the
Right?
tell me what the 4-step process is.
Yes. So the first step is our discovery phase, where, and it's still being tweaked. I mean, I tweak it almost after every time I use it, because, it's something that I don't think it's ever going to be the same. You learn with every question you ask. So the first one is our discovery phase. This is where we will sit there and find out if we're a good fit for each other, right? Let's see, because I'm not interested in the rate shopper. I want to work with people that have problems. I want to work with people that I can actually provide solutions for, not just sell insurance.
Right.
So, I mean, if they don't have any problems outside of price, and then, depending on the case, obviously we'll take it, but it's
Sure.
not what we walk in with, right?
Sure.
We talk about price because especially now you have to. But the questions are always like, price aside, what's important to you in your relationship with your insurance agent, right?
Well, here's the thing too. People like to say we don't sell on price, we don't sell on price, we don't sell on price. Everybody sells on price to some degree.
Everybody does.
Now, I posted
Right.
on Facebook the other day, or on LinkedIn the other day, that the only way you compete with price is speed and convenience, which obviously is a great point, but it's not true in every scenario, and it's meant to be a little jarring, and the middle market boys came after me for that. But price is a part of every transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, price is a huge part of every transaction. But where you get hurt is when you make it the only part of every transaction. Right. It's all the other stuff that comes into play that protect you from living by price, dying by price.
Right.
It's a part of every transaction, whether you want to admit it or not.
Yeah, Mike Stromso has a question, and I'm trying to think of exactly how he phrases it during the very start of the discovery process, and it's a psychological question.
You want to call him and ask him?
You can if you want.
Let's call him and ask him.
Yeah, let's
do this. We've never done this before.
Yeah, FaceTime his ass. Tell him to go to work and quit just laying around not doing anything. Shit, I'm so tired of it. He better answer, or I'm gonna be pissed. He's not gonna answer.
He's not gonna answer. We need to leave
he might be doing his afternoon
yoga class.
We need to leave him a message.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna leave you a message.
Tell it. Text him and tell him to call you right back. We're on live on a podcast.
Goodbye.
What?
No voicemail. I guess that's what happens when you sell your agency.
So the question is this. It's something like this. Mr. Johnson, I want to say 2 words to you, and you tell me which one of these words is the most important to you. He very deliberately says the very first word first. So he says, here's the 2 words. Price. And then he says another word. That's the word I can't think of, but I want to say it's like service or something like that. And what that does is it lets him know immediately whether this is somebody that his agency would have wanted to write their business, because if they come back and they say price, he knows they're a shopper. They're somebody it's going to be hard to keep them on the books for 8, 9, 10 years.
Well, that's kind of why we do that too, right? Because I mean, look, there's 4 agents in my complex where I'm at. There's a State Farm, a giant State Farm, and there's an independent that does non-standard stuff, and there's another independent. Like, what's the difference? I mean, they can go to anybody, but I want to work with the people that I can provide value to.
I would love to sit outside your office door in the morning when people are pulling in, going to work, and try to figure out who works for who. Yeah. I would have a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah. Thankfully, my door is facing another building. Like, I don't see any of that stuff. But yeah, we're everywhere, right?
What
I mean,
the non-standard agencies employees come in smoking cigarettes and throwing their beer. I'm joking.
My question is, what the hell does the State Farm agency write in Miami, Florida? Because they ain't writing home. What? They just write autos?
Citizens, they get a better rate with Citizens. They get a discount.
Yeah. I'm sure they do. That's a damn State Farm move from way. I can tell you how that happened. over golf on probably in some golf course down there. That
I sit on the board of our LAIA chapter up here in Broward, and we talk about that all the time, and it's crazy.
And see, to me, that's where an association should come in. Maybe not LAIA, but an association should come in and somehow lobby to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, hello there. Excuse me for interrupting your regularly scheduled podcast, but I'm here today to get you out of aggregator and cluster jail. This may be the most important message I've ever delivered on the Insurance Guys podcast. Guys, are you a member of a cluster or an aggregator? Does your contract have exit fees, termination payments, buyback provisions? It's time to get your freedom back and do what we did here at iProtect Insurance. Join the AC, the future of aggregators and clusters in our industry. Best decision we've ever made, guys. Best decision we've ever made. No entry fees, small $200 a month membership fee, over 50 plus carriers for direct appointments. And by the way, adding new ones coming on board with them each and every month. You keep 100% of your commissions and profit sharing every year. Guys, each of the last 2 years, we have made in our agency over $100,000 in profit sharing. And wait, here's the best part. This is the part I'm probably the most passionate about. No termination or exit fees. You give the AC 60 days notice and you're free. You get direct appointments wherever you want. There's no buyback provisions, no exit clauses. Guys, if you're a member of another aggregator and you have termination fees, buyback provisions, exit clauses, every single policy you write, you're digging that hole just a little bit deeper. And one day you're not going to be able to get out of it. It's going to be too much. You're going to be taking out a second mortgage on your home just to try to get out of an aggregator or cluster group. Unbelievable. Go to acfree.org. That's acfree.org and register. Find out why over 850 agencies and $3 billion in premium have chosen the AC. But wait, guys, there's more. Heck, this may be the best part. Mention the Insurance Guys podcast when you talk to these guys, and you get 6 months. That's 6 months of no membership fee just by mentioning the Insurance Guys podcast. Yep. So we got Discovery was number one. Number two was what?
So the second stage, so once we decide if we're a good fit, right, where we understand, especially in this market, price is a thing. We have to talk about it. We're calling our renewals saying, hey, get ready. 25, 50% increases, just know it's coming. We move to the lockdown stage, right? So if we decide that we're a good fit for each other, that you want more than just price, you value, you need help with your growth, with the safety of your employees, with return to work programs, all that stuff that is the risk management side of insurance. Correct. And you say, yes, I want that help. And you're going to give me the access to the people that are going to give me the help or allow me to give you the help. Great. Then we go to the lockdown phase. Okay. And then this is where we come back and present that our solutions to the problems, we agree, we move forward. Okay. Step number 3 is the reinforcement stage. This is where we come back throughout the policy term and do what reinforcement stage. Good. This is where we do what we said we were going to do in the prior 2 meetings. We discovered the problems. We're going to implement the solutions that we agreed upon and monitor them. And then the last stage, which is number 4, is our permanence stage. And so this is the part where I don't like to call it the renewal stage because everyone is trained in this industry. All the prospects, all of our customers know at renewal time is when we shop. Mm-hmm. You call a customer, you talk to a prospect, you talk to anyone and they say, oh, well, call me at renewal time. Oh, I'll think about it at renewal time. Everything. They all know that's the time that's the window where they get to leave. Mm-hmm. So we call it the permanence stage. And we paint this nice picture where they get to live in the bunker, free from risk. They're protected from risk. We have moved them from danger to a safe place. And now they get to reside here inside of our bunker while we help protect their business for another year.
Are you calling on all of your permanent? Are you saying permanent or permanence?
Permanence.
Never heard that before.
Yeah.
Are you calling all your customers during the permanence stage to talk about, where we are right now and whether, prices have gone up and we need to reshop, or is it that you're doing it on a percentage basis if it goes up more than X percent?
Yeah, we're doing it on a percentage basis right now. I don't have many like the small bops and things like that. Mm-hmm. If I have any, those, if they're especially on EFT or whatever, like they get the emails, they have the automations of like, has anything changed? They get a calendar link to a renewal appointment with me if they wanted to schedule it, things like that we do. But for the more complex ones, we actually go in person and we meet with them. And well, remember, everything I do is E&S. So we need the supplementals. We need the whole process again.
And God forbid you miss something.
No. Yeah. So I'm using WonderWrite for that. It's made my process way better.
We're using WonderWrite as well.
It's definitely, the process is so bad and it's not customer friendly at all. And so I'm trying to make it as easy and, another reason to be with me and not the person down the street, right? Mm-hmm. It's, I have the technology to make this process hurt a little less.
And by the way, WonderWrite, we've got one more sponsorship available for the 2023 school year. So when you guys are ready to jump on board, The Scott
Yeah.
and Bradley train. Come on.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
What do you find? I have a theory, and you can't include Florida in this. Outside of Florida, I think small commercial BOPs are more service than
Yes.
homeowners
Mhm.
because they expect the same level of attention as the middle market accounts because they don't know the difference. They don't know they're not a middle market account,
I've got a solution.
and they require more service than a regular homeowner's policy does. So why write $1,500 BOPs when I can write $1,500 homeowner policies? Now, where Ciara is, totally different ball game, but I'm talking Florida North.
I got a solution.
Okay.
You're the second agent that's brought this up to me in the past 6 months. Here's my solution, guys. Everybody listening to this right now. We need to create it can either be on a per agency basis or the insurance guys need to create this, where we have a team of VAs and one either licensed VA or licensed small commercial insurance agent that runs a brokerage for us, and we do everything online. We market online. We almost like what's the one that I used to make fun of on YouTube? Because that's kind of what they're doing.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the one that Brian Hanley. God, what was it called? My name's Ken with.
Oh, Next Insurance.
Next Insurance. Yeah. But some type of. And I think bigger agencies could even do this on their own. Where they
my name's John Stumpenhorse and I'm insured with Next Insurance. Well, John, do you know about all the exclusions that are in your policy?
Right.
Like,
I think larger agencies, especially, could create an online presence and have just nothing but 2 or 3 employees that do small commercial, almost like just a meal of people calling in and needing small commercial insurance. GL for painting contractor, that kind of stuff. Some dog outside
let's wait
really
just a second and
it.
make sure that dog stops.
He is really getting after it right now. Yeah, we're not trying to do a podcast in here or anything. Don't worry about it. Ciara, I'm about to have Bradley so excited he's going to be flipping this desk over. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I was born for this.
I spent 3 hours last night with the
Did you
incomparable.
leave your dog in the car?
I did. 3 hours last night with the incomparable first-team All-American Gary Vaynerchuk. Here's what Gary Vaynerchuk says. Branding in 2023, now we're talking from a macro level here, okay? Not micro. The days of spending, if you're a large company, $6, $7, $8, $10 million, $20 million, $30 million branding on television is over. That game's been played. It's over. Scoreboard 0-0. Now, the way to brand yourself is on social media. He says, and here's what they use as their acronym at VaynerMedia. The acronym is SOC, SOC. Strategic, that's the key word, strategic organic content. And what they do is across the 5 social media platforms that everybody should be on, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and TikTok, they take a kid who's 24, 25 years old but has enough knowledge in that particular platform to know the type of posting that needs to be done on that particular platform. Because remember, on every platform, it's different.
Changes.
And it changes. So he says, take a 24, 25-year-old kid that has what would be considered a PhD level understanding of that particular platform and have them posting content, both paid and organic content, across all platforms, and then do 200 or 300 of those a week. That's how you brand today, rather than putting your new high-speed, low-drag company on television and paying an exorbitant amount of money to do that. What are your thoughts on that?
I 100% agree with that. And that's actually the next thing that I was going to say that I think I do pretty well is just the aesthetics of the bunker. I think it's attractive, and obviously I created it.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think that it's different. No one in our industry, everyone looks the same, even though maybe they're not last name insurance agency, but use bold colors, use big fonts. The reality of it is that the way that this is going with social media, if you don't look a certain way, you're not even going to get a chance.
Right.
You're not even going to get the phone call. No one's going to pick up the phone and call you. You're not going to, if your website doesn't look a certain way, if I land on a website, which when I did my presentation at the Better Agency this year, I researched a lot of insurance agents' websites, and it's like the jargon of insurance that is just spewed at the person. Like, it is such a turnoff. It's overwhelming. The prospect does not know what any of those words mean. They're trying to make it such an insurance sale that at the end of the day, what this is going to, especially with the buying population that's coming, they're going to do business with Portal because they like Bradley. Even if Bradley is not the best insurance agent for the job, right? It doesn't matter. They like Bradley. They like his content. He's going to get the opportunity before I would, because I'm not posting, because I have an outdated logo, because I have an outdated name, because I'm still going to work in a shirt and a tie every day. You know, it's just, I think that it's just becoming a more human aspect of selling insurance. It's just more casual.
Well, and the thing is too, you don't even have to talk about insurance in the sense of talking to the customer. Like, of all the videos I've done and all the content I've done in the last year, maybe 2% was consumer facing. Hey, you should buy insurance from us, or hey, this is how
But there is some leverage in that. Because it presents you as an expert.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. But I make content around what I'm passionate about,
right,
which is business, and we sell a crap ton of insurance because of that. Like, people know me in this area as this guy who talks to other insurance agents and does podcasts.
Correct.
And therefore they know I sell insurance too. So you don't necessarily have to say, hey, I'm Bradley with iProtect Insurance.
You're the insurance guy.
Correct. I was in these stores that do framing. So they like frame photos and stuff. My beautiful wife was in a magazine, and I got it framed for Christmas last year. This random podunk framing store in a town of 8,000 people. And the lady looks up and goes, podcast, and looks back down. And I'm like,
there you go.
What just happened?
Okay.
Right. But I'll tell you guys this. Okay. State Farm is a national name, household name.
Logo.
Allstate is a household name.
Logo.
Farmers.
And then
Geico.
some bitches spend a small gross domestic product on commercials.
Name me an independent agency that's a household name.
None.
There's not one.
That's what I just got through saying on our last podcast. Is I'm just gonna have to do it myself, because ain't nobody else gonna do it.
There's a huge opportunity right now. And obviously you have to have the bandwidth and the infrastructure to be able to handle being a national brand.
Right.
But you don't have to be a national brand. I mean, you can do it in your community, right?
Right.
But there is no independent agency that is a national household name.
Correct.
That opportunity, that ball field is wide open right now.
Right.
It's partly why I think Acrisure bought the naming rights to Heinz Field. I think Hub did something too.
They did.
And I think
I can't remember what stadium, but you're right.
From a brand standpoint, I think Hub has the best opportunity to become that. But that opportunity is wide open right now if somebody wants to take it.
1,000% agree.
And to be completely honest with you, if an Acrisure did it, or a Hub did it, or iProtect, or the Bunker, I would be overjoyed, because I think it would help all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We would all win, for sure.
Yes.
What is that about? High tide lifts all ships.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could not agree with you more. I think there is a tremendous opportunity. So on the last podcast we did last week, Ciara, I talked about, since it's obvious that the Big I and the PIA and all these other organizations aren't going to create something for the independent agency channel, I'm just going to go ahead and create a commercial and blow it out over all social media platforms, talking about how the way, especially right now, and this dovetails into what Bradley just said, in a hard market, which is where we are nationally right now, choices are a good thing. And I know you mentioned earlier that, that's just kind of like that's the start. And maybe I get with you and you help me create the video, the 3-minute video of, I'm about to explain to you why having an independent insurance agent like Bradley Flowers in Mobile, Alabama is a good thing, and why that's what you want instead of this other stuff out there. And I know you're watching. You know how I know you're watching? Because I know all your rates are about to go up about 25, 30, 40%. So I know you're going to be paying attention to insurance.
Right.
Now's the time to do it. And what do you think my message should say besides choices are a good thing or instead of choices are a good thing? Now, remember, I'm representing you. I'm representing Bradley. I'm representing the 250,000 agents listening to this. I want it to be something that is memorable, and I want it to be something that carries across all territories of the U.S. You know, we don't want it to just be a southeastern flavor thing. It needs to go out to my friend Daniel Song in California and Chris Paradiso in Connecticut. What do you think?
What if you did it from the angle of like, I mean, every single independent agency owner like ourselves, we are small businesses, right? Like, what about, you know, keeping your money supporting your local community? And here's how. Instead of calling, you know, 1-800-GEICO or whatever their number is, you know, like, what about keeping your money? And maybe it's my local group. Do you guys have Publixes?
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, we've got Publixes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Publixes is a funny word.
I like
Publixes. That. I think they have the best commercials like around the holidays, right?
Do.
They're like tearjerkers. Yeah.
And my other problem, you know who else could do the video with me? Daniel Song. He's a natural. People trust Daniel.
Well, yeah, he's amazing.
Dude, he could be. What if we made Daniel the spokesman for the independent agent? Because
that's where I was.
He's already famous.
I was headed in that direction. Maybe he's the one that does. I direct him. Maybe I'm in it in some small level, but I'm the guy behind him walking with books or something, like on a movie where you're the extra. You know.
Maybe you just pass by in the back in a DeLorean.
I'm in a calling people mood. Let's just call him and ask him if he wants to do it.
Let's just call Daniel Song. I'm about tired of this shit. I'm ready to damn do something. Nobody else will do anything but sit around and talk about doing something.
Do it.
Keeping your money.
People
in the
are finding
community.
out how many friends we have.
None.
Because nobody's answering the phone. We'll call Christina. She'll answer.
Now I'm gonna call him. That's some bit. My brother-in-law. Scott, how do I file a windshield claim? I would like to go back with OEM since my truck is new. Where will I need to go to get it repaired? Thank you.
Please leave your message.
All right, you're gonna leave him a message.
No, I'm calling him.
Call him. Leave him a message.
Hey, Daniel Song, my name's Rick Garborough down here in Scottsboro, Alabama. I got my insurance with you. And listen, my damn pool I got a hole in it. Looks like a damn dog's been chewing on it. And I'm going to need to file a damn insurance claim on that. If you don't mind, call me back at this number. Thanks. You'll love that. Welcome to Alabama,
I get
Daniel.
about one of those a week from Scott.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. Let's see if he'll answer my call. This is back-to-back calls now, so he knows
So he's
it's
going to think it's something important.
Yeah, and it is. He's live on the Insurance Guys podcast.
You're also giving him the opportunity of a lifetime to be the spokesperson for this. So
if somebody wants to listen to this and wants to fund this project, we're happy to.
Well, they won't. They won't, because all they want to do is talk. Everybody wants to talk. Nobody wants to do. That's happening. Daniel Song, you are now the official. Now, especially since you didn't answer the phone, you are now the official sponsor.
Had a chance to negotiate contracts, but you didn't answer.
So
Hey,
the teachable moment here is that
we're going to have to call 911 just to get somebody to answer the phone.
Don't you think? Don't you? I know, right? Scott's having a heart attack over here, and you some bitches. Hey, question. Don't you think we need more, though, than just keeping your money in the local community? Doesn't it need to be more about choices are a good thing?
Yeah, I gotta massage the idea though. These ideas don't come just off. I'm not that good, like I gotta think about them. I think that the options are obviously important, especially because we're going against the captives.
So Daniel Song is the spokesman for insurance. Ciara is the creative director for the entire insurance industry.
And then we've got our cinematography person over here.
Scott will be the water boy.
I'll be water boy. I think that's a brilliant idea, and I'm willing to foot the bill for up to 5,000 of this
Okay.
I'll foot the bill for up to 5. I want to run ads. I'm talking about paid advertising across social media platforms and get the message out across the United States that going and getting your insurance from an independent agent is the way to go.
I remember many years ago, we've always gone to Chris Paradiso trainings, even when we had just started on the independent side. And I remember that Chris always used to say that he would get on a plane and ask the person next to him, "Do you know what an independent insurance agency is?"
Right.
And it would just be an education project of like educating the consumer on the importance of using independent agents. That's really, I mean, what if we just like collectively made a movement, right?
I'm telling you that
It's good.
you're hitting all my points.
It's good.
So, and that is our goal.
We need
I think
shirts.
you
Scott.
just
We need shirts.
our goal is educating the public on the what an independent insurance agent is, and then why it's important to get your insurance from a local independent insurance agent. The end. That's our mission statement, if you will. Those two things.
Yeah.
All right. Before I close this thing down, get my responsibility and Bradley's responsibility. Our mission is to help agents any way we can, and I think we've done a good job of that today. But I want to give them a few more nuggets. Give me one or two more things from a branding perspective that you used with a bunker to kind of get this thing off the ground, knowing day one people are going to be like, what the hell is the bunker and why do I want to do that?
So I always just tried to build this differently from what we had in the past, right? So I achieved that with the name. I knew that with the name, I wanted to achieve a feeling. I wanted our two prior agencies were just so generic and no thought process behind it that I wanted someone to hear the name and I wanted them to feel, oh, well, this makes sense. Insurance, a bunker's for safety.
Right.
And I've achieved that.
Right.
And my prospects, customers, they have told me like, I get it, the bunker. So, and it's catchy. It looks good on swag. It's good. So if you have a chance, if this is a new agency that's opening, think long and hard. It took us months to come up with this name. And really, I always knew I wanted something that I could build upon. So if you're just starting out or if you're going to rebrand, try to make it something that could be stackable, where you can like create a whole story and like close the story. Like the path of coming into the bunker, even like the infographic that we use in an appointment, it looks like stairs going down. So you start the discovery and then the last step is permanence. And it's like you're going down the stairs with every step into the bunker. So I'm trying to even like, very subtly let them know that they're walking into a bunker.
And would you agree that branding your agency in small town America, which I believe is where the majority of our agents that are listening have their agency? I mean, I can't tell you the number of people that call me from small town Oklahoma, small town Nebraska, small town Pennsylvania. Is that different than branding in New York City, Denver, Colorado, Dallas, Texas, or do you think the same principles apply?
I think it's especially on a rebranding perspective. I think it is different, and I respect the agents that have had last name insurance agency for a long time in a small town.
Right.
It's public relations suicide to change your name. I understand that, but there are ways to modernize it. At least you can modernize it. You can maybe update a logo. You can refresh your colors.
You can do powered by.
I was going to say you can sponsor like a brand where it's like maybe a different line of insurance, and then you can use that to be more modern and maybe for the social media stuff. There are ways. It doesn't have to go. It's not like you have to go home and rebrand and change your whole name that you've had for 55 years.
Well, see,
that's not the goal of it.
That's the way I would handle an acquisition as well. We talked about acquisitions last week. Is let's say you buy an agency that has Smith Insurance Agency and I'm Portal. Well, what I'm immediately doing is Smith Insurance Agency powered by Portal.
Right.
I'm doing the same thing that I told you to do about branding yourself compared to the carrier if you're captive. I'm doing Smith Insurance Agency powered by Portal, and then maybe a year or so later, 6 months to a year later, that portal logo gets a little bit bigger on all the branding and content we pulled out. And then eventually the Smith Insurance Agency is phased out completely and we just go with portal.
And the clients never notice.
The clients never notice. You give people time to get used to it, right? Versus if you just rip that Band-Aid off, you're hurting yourself in the short run. But if you leave it as it always has been, you're hurting yourself in the long run. So you have to find the balance of those
That's
two.
a great clip right there. Because
he's got it, buddy.
That what he just said is the way to do that.
It is the way. It is the way, especially if you are geographically in a place that your name is important and has been in the community for many years.
Right.
I think the other thing that I do is I just try to do also everything just different. For example, everything we mail is in a yellow envelope that looks just like this. So this has gotten me.
And if you're listening to this, go to our YouTube, the Insurance Guys YouTube, subscribe, and you can see the outrageously yellow envelope that's on the screen.
And this is our thank you card. It's abnormally big. Our other envelope that we send out is even larger. So not only is it an odd size, it stands out. Whether they open it or not, I got an account of an electrician that their current agent could not help them with their non-renewing workers' comp. And we would call. We also dropped off a box. We did our Killing Commercial style drops, and we dropped off a box with our logo on it, a coffee mug. It was during COVID. We put a hand sanitizer in it that said it's time for a clean start with the bunker, a handwritten note. So we're doing everything possible to be extremely different and memorable. So not only we would drop that off if you had a mod above a 1, but also we would send this envelope every single month, whether they open it or not. They know eventually, first of all, they're going to open it. We were actually going to play a game and say, maybe we should just send it empty.
Why did you choose yellow? Because colors mean something.
I wish I could tell you a real smart story, but I just liked it. I feel like it's just bold. And a lot of people don't use this yellow, especially against the black, but there's really not. For me, there wasn't.
You may tell you the best memorable marketing idea I've ever had.
Me pissing in my pants on the way down the mobile.
No. That I've never done. And I would love for somebody listening to this to do it. Get about 1,000 of those mini hourglasses. And you put it in that bubble wrap interior envelope, and so it feels like there's something in there. And you mail it to people with a letter that says, I just need 2 minutes of your time.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I want to mail out. They're going to remember it. I want to mail out a postcard, a big postcard, full postage, like 6x8 postcard. And it's the front of it's our agency staff. Choices are a good thing. Blah, blah, blah. In the back of it, in big, bold letters, it says, your insurance sucks. Yeah. I've always wanted to do that. Do you think that's too much? Like, would people take offense to that?
I don't think so.
What do you think?
I would not take offense to that, but there's always people that are offended.
Oh, there's going to be a damn Karen that's going to call. I never put my insurance with you.
I always wanted to mail, and this is true. We thought about this, mailing people a postcard when we always like to do stuff when somebody buys a house. It's a new purchase. We like to send them something cool. I got some postcards one time that had a picture of Snoop Dogg on it, and it said that's the mail lady.
Oh my gosh,
you should tell that story.
Lunatic is next door.
My mail lady is very aggressive, and
they're gonna have to have new mailboxes every year because she slams those things like.
The mailboxes are on the other side of this wall, and so I'm over there just shaking them. She slammed anyway. It had a picture of Snoop Dogg on it. It said, "Congrats on the new Hizzle."
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about a yellow rubber ducky that has a QR code on the bottom of it, and when you take a picture of the QR code, it takes you straight to an iProtect page where we go ahead and start quoting your insurance?
Yeah.
People love rubber duckies.
This is something that is so inexpensive and so easy to be different.
Yeah.
Someone, if they get this often enough, either they're going to open it and see what does this person want, or they're just always going to remember the bunker. They're going to know the next time we walk in there, the next time we call.
Agreed. I wish we had another 30 minutes to sit here and bounce branding out. Let's get back on here and do nothing. Just start the podcast. Ciara, I'm not even introing you.
Yeah.
We're just, Bradley and I are going to sit here and talk marketing, branding ideas for an hour.
And call more of your friends.
And call more of our friends that don't answer the phone. Thanks, guys. Hey, before I end this podcast, Ciara, thank you so much for being on with us today. Guys, before I end this podcast today, I need everybody to know something, and I want you to listen very closely. For 3 years, I've been wanting to pave my driveway, and for 3 years, I don't have a paved driveway. I need money. I need help. Come to the One City World Tour this year with me. I've made the promise over and over again. I'm going to spend time with each and every person there this year. Before you leave, I am going to know who you are, where you're from, what your agency looks like. We're just gonna talk. I did a poor job of that last year, and I'm not gonna do that again this year. That's my goal for this One City World Tour. And I know we're running up on like it's getting time for to go down there, because when this podcast comes out, it'll probably be late December, won't it? Something like that.
No, this will be January.
I'm joking about my driveway, except it is not paved. And
you've had how many contractors no show you?
No, I had two come out and look at it, but I just couldn't afford it. I mean, it was $8,000 to $10,000.
You got a long driveway.
Well, you got $5,000 of this. Look at how dedicated you are to us.
I'm telling you, I'm giving away money I ain't got, but I do think we need to make Daniel Song the spokesman of the independent channel from a branding standpoint, and
the
his
Song family,
and his ass needs to start running. We need to start running him. We need to start running commercials.
Yeah, I think that's
but not television commercials, social media commercials. Letting him spread the good word.
You can also do OTT too, which is like commercials on Hulu. Those are real cheap.
Yeah,
people that watch
some of the streaming services.
You can buy commercials on live TV on Hulu for like pennies.
Here's what we need to do. Ciara, help me out here.
It's called Over the Top because it goes over the top. Sorry, I'll stop nerding out.
Let's do a GoFundMe, and the next podcast we come on, we give out the GoFundMe account. Take every bit of money that we raise in the GoFundMe account.
Buy Scott a driveway.
No. Take every bit of that money, and we'll even put out there like a public document showing where all the money goes. But like for Facebook advertising, for
open source.
Yeah, right. Open source communication. So it's not like giving your money to one of these damn groups that the money never gets somewhere. But we hire Daniel Song as our spokesman, and then we just start pumping this stuff out.
I mean, we should do this in January.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm serious as I've ever been. I'm serious as cancer right now. I'm ready. I'm ready to do it.
He's as serious as Thanksgiving with no pants.
No pants on at Thanksgiving. Damn pecker showing it, everybody. Hey, Ciara, thank you so much for being here. As I end every podcast, rewards come from action, not discussion. Get your ass out from behind that desk today and stop aggressively waiting on the phone to ring. That is not going to happen anymore. Go out into the big bad world, make money for your wife, for your husband, for your kids' college fund, for your parents and your in-laws that are struggling out there. Go make money for them. Write good business for the companies that you represent, and write good business for the agencies that you represent. Bradley Flowers, I love you.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, Ciara.
Thank you, guys.
Ciara, we love you more. Hey,
I love you guys. Thank you have an
open invitation anytime. But I'm telling you right now, I want you to come back on and us spend 1 hour with marketing and branding ideas. Mm-hmm. You've got some great ideas.
He's good.
Some of that
yeah.
Stuff.
Okay. I don't know the technical stuff.
Before I end this, 1 to 10, 1 being worst anybody's ever branded their agency, 10 being the best. Where does Portal sit?
Probably 6 or 7.
Okay.
Because the brand's okay, but we could do a better job of like a lot of the stuff she was talking about with integrating it with the process. And that sort of thing.
If I walk out on Dolphin Street tonight and I say, hey, do you know what Portal Insurance is? How many people you think would know what it is?
Probably a decent amount.
Really?
Because people know us. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you got to exclude like the people that aren't from here that are in town or whatever.
Right. But
you'd run into a lot of those.
I would say if you asked 100 people, probably 20 or 30% of them would probably know, which is not bad.
A whole lot better than what we got.
But it also depends on where you are and that sort of thing too.
Guys, you are listening to the Insurance Guys podcast, and we love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being a part of our family. and we'll see you back here real soon. Take care.